It's me, that MVP, Roby 30. And guess what? We're doing the exact thing I told you guys we were going to do. We're going to take a look at our defensive coverages pre-snap and do our best to determine what the coverage is by the way it looks on the field. Now, guys, none of this is 100% because a good Madden player will disguise his coverage. But first off, we're going to look at a cover 4 shell, okay? Do you see how far off the defensive backs are playing? How far away from the receiver they're playing? That means it's most likely a zone coverage. 90% of the time, it's going to be a zone coverage. Now, you can motion these guys, and they're still going to walk with them in zones because they have a specific zone they're supposed to be in. But they're playing way off and backed up, and that tells me in zone coverage right there, and it is. It's cover 4, as you can see. Really? I don't know why it does that sometimes. Cover 4. Now, what most people are going to do is they're going to base align their coverages. Almost everyone comes out and base aligns their coverages. When you do that, it is a telltale sign of it being a zone coverage if they're in zone, because when you base align, notice how far out those defensive backs kick. Those guys kicked way out to the side, and that tells you that it is a zone coverage right there as far because how far out they are. One little pro tip, guys, don't base align against tight coverages unless you really know what you're doing, because you're going to open up seam routes and everything, and it's just not a great idea. Now, the next coverage I want to look at is the easy to see man coverage. We've audibled to man coverage, and notice they didn't change anything. They are still out where they were, but look how bad that coverage is. You can put almost any route out on the field and beat the coverage because of how backed off and how off of the wide receivers they are. When you see a man coverage, they're normally aren't going to base a line. They're going to look just like this. They're going to be on top of their receivers. And for Madden 16, almost all the time, they're going to be pressed down. So your coverage, if they're pressed like this, that 95% of the time means it's man coverage. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, we can disguise zone coverages to do this, make it look like man. There's all sorts of fun things you can do defensively, and those are for a later date on later videos, later Tuesday tips, later doomsday defenses, whatever we decide to do that with, we could do that. What we're focusing on right now is just back to the basics. Tuesday tips, baby. That right there is what man coverage looks like. It's pretty simple. Now, cover 2. Looks the same, except they back off. And a lot of times you're going to have a base align cover 2. So they would be wide spread out, just like that, and way backed off. And that tells me, if you see how kind of your slot corners up close and your outside corners are way back, that is a telltale sign of zone coverage. Now, guys, this year it's way harder to differentiate pre-snap, whether it's cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. It's really hard to do that this year, and basically I'm not that great at it. I will hike the ball and see where the coverage is, not pre-snap, but post-snap. And I have quite a few plays out there that will beat cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, and that allows me to know that I have a safety blanket right there in case I misjudged what my opponent was running. Man coverage, a lot easier to read. Remember, we're in cover 2 right now, way backed off corners. When they go to cover 2 man, they're going to have to get these guys back in on top of those routes, or else you're going to toast their defense. And again, the majority of the time, they're going to press that. So the big defense this year is man press. Anyway, guys, that is the best I can do for you guys for pre-snap coverage reads. Now, post-snap is way easier. Way easier. It's going to be way easier to tell whether you're in cover 3, cover 4, cover 2, or man defense post-snap. But guess what, guys? That we'll have to wait for next Tuesday's Tuesday Tips, back to the basics. So if this video helped y'all any, please hit like, hit subscribe, follow this YouTube. We're going to have more gameplay, more fun videos, but also good tutorial videos to teach you guys exactly how to play Madden. I'm